Well, when it comes to gospel songs, and I may be, I've got something specific at the end I really want to touch, so I may be hitting it, making it anticlimactic by asking this. But outside of a song that you wrote in the gospel field, what's your favorite gospel song
of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Hide Thou Me.
I knew you were going to say that. I was saving that to the end, but I've blown it now.
All right.
Well, let's go ahead and hit it. I mean, when I read the book, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, you probably did, but you gave more ink to Hide Thou Me as a single song than any other song that you put in the book. Did you realize that?
I did not realize that.
Yeah,
I did. I'm hearing from my sons who saying, yeah, you did. They're agreeing with you. It meant a lot to me. It had such a history with me from the time I was about 9 years old to where I first heard this song, and to where I just, it just meant something to me. I just loved the song.
Yeah.
And the way we sang it. And I loved feeling my brothers around me when we sang that chorus.
Yeah.
It's powerful. It is very powerful.
And I understand from the book too, if I read it correctly, that even after you retired, from time to time, maybe around Christmas time, all of the brothers would get together, their wives, you'd eventually go into your home or Harold's house or something, and get around the piano, and that one always came up, didn't it?
Always came. We would wind up singing some Christmas carols and things like that. But when the night would come to an end, that's always what we would sing at the end. And that was sort of and it happened every time. It was just because we all felt something special about that song.
And not to go down a morbid road, but even in your book, you say that there's a folder on your desk, that ties into your last service.
It's right here behind me. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's what sung. I want played, not sung but I want the Statler's version of that played when they send me off to a better world. And wow. It says it all to me.
That is powerful, man. And it is in fact a powerful song. I agree with you.
It is. Thank you.
My little quartet ran through it the other day, and we want to try to do it. And we don't have it ready to release to the world yet, but just in doing it, man, I mean, I got goosebumps just with the lyric, and then the power of the vocal. I mean, it really, everything that makes a great song converges at one time in that song.
In that song, the chord progressions, the what you can do with there's like the ending, and what you can do with that melody, it does. It just rings true. I'm surprised that more groups haven't done it through the years. Yeah.
There's been a few, and they've done it well, but sure do love it when the Statlers do it.
First time I ever heard it, you remember the Sons of Song?
Sure. Yeah.
That's who I first heard do it.
Yeah.
On an album.
They were good, man.
Oh boy. Yeah. Don Butler. That was, as I tell the story in there about him, he just was a terrific voice.
Yeah. I often get asked if I'm related to Don, and we are not.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
Okay, let's see. What about some of your favorite gospel groups today? We've talked about Blackwood Statesmen, who you heard growing up, but do you have any gospel groups today that you go, I like what they do and how they do it?
I do like what they do. I've been watching a lot of Gerald Wolfe's hymn sings, and I'm really impressed with Gerald. I'm impressed with his group too, of course. Yeah. And it just gives me chills to watch some of those old hymns that they sing, and the way he does it and the way he presents it. Yeah. And there's great, I love the Legacy 5 and Ernie Hals's group, because we were great friends with the Cathedrals and their biggest fans. I mean, we would just go and sit on the front row. That was even into our career. Whenever they were close by, we were there. We never missed a moment of them, because Glenn and George, they were the best.
Since you mentioned them, let's go ahead and go walk down that road a little bit. You were invited to and got to participate in their farewell concert at the Ryman that Bill and Gloria produced on them, and the video and all of that. What was that night like?
It was one of the highlights of our career. It really was. We were there, and they asked us to sing a couple of songs, and we did. and it was the audience was full of all of our heroes. Everybody was in the audience. I mean, there was Jake, and there was James, and there was all of the Gaither people that did all those videos, and we just loved them. And we came off stage, and the first one to grab me was James. He hugged my neck and it said nice things to me then, and this just meant so much. All of a sudden, I felt like I was a kid again, and now instead of sitting and watching these people, I was sitting there with them. Yeah. And that touched me deeper than I can express.
Well, I don't know of a gospel music fan that wasn't a Cathedral Quartet fan, and myself included. Man, they were special.
I'm telling you, they were. They just grew and got better with years and with time. And by the time they had called it quits, they were the top of the ladder. You just couldn't touch them with the individual voices and the harmony and the arrangement. I told Glenn one time, I said, most acts in entertainment work to have at least one good production song that they can do and really sell, to close. The Cathedrals had about every other song was one of those great production songs that you're waiting for. Yeah. And it was just, they just kept you on the edge of your seat.
And something else they had too, which not every group has, but your group had it as well. You had that dynamic of Glenn and George, just like the dynamic of you and Harold.
Well, thank you. That just happened. That was never planned that way, but yeah, and it certainly helps when you got a natural comedian as part of the group, and Harold was the best. And of course, George, with what he did I just loved his sense of humor and the way he presented it. Yeah. And when that's built in, it's pretty nice.
That's another educational thing that, as groups that I work with in Southern gospel music, as they may view this, they need to pay attention to what we're saying here, because that dynamic of two people on stage that can connect on stage, it connects with the audience as well. Yeah. And you need more than the great song and the great production. That dynamic really helps sell the Cathedral Quartet, and it helped to sell the Statler Brothers.
Likability is more important than talent anytime. Once they like you, they're going to love you, whether you're any good or not. Yeah. And we had a built-in, thank God, blessing of likability, and a lot of it was owed to Harold. Yeah.
Yes. Well, let's talk about one of my favorite gospel songs that y'all did, and you recorded it, and it was an homage to one of your country hits. One of your biggest country hits was "I'll Go to My Grave Loving You," and then you turned that around into a gospel song called "He Went to the Cross Loving You," and I think it's just a brilliant piece of work.
It is. Those lyrics were all Harold's. I wrote "I'll Go to My Grave Loving You," and I wrote it as a ballad, a slow ballad. And it was Harold said to me one day, "Hey, why don't you let's put some tempo to it and some after time." So I did that, and then it was a hit. Then in time, he says, "I got an idea. I want to use that melody of yours, but I'm going to take it back to the ballad kind of thing and make it a gospel song." He called it "He Went to the Cross." Fine. So that's what he did, and that's how that song was born, and I loved it too.
Great song. That's another one I bring to my quartet to see if they would have interest in doing that. Great lyric.
Sure. Tell them they must. Tell them they must.
I'll do that. And just as an aside, "I'll Go to My Grave Loving You" is the very first 45 that I ever purchased and gave to my then girlfriend, soon to be wife.
Is that right? How nice. That has such an important part of your life. I'm glad.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, the Statler Brothers drilled deep into my life, Don. You have no idea.